Guys, a very warm welcome to the workshop. This is probably going to be our last video in the space as you see it now. Before we actually take you on the tour through the whole space, it'll be a small tour because this room does appear a little bit larger on camera. Now, one of the things I really love about this hobby of ours is we've always got something to do, whether that is cleaning your rifle system, we're doing something reloading wise, you're setting up a rifle. You know, there's always something to tinker with, and I'm one of those people, perhaps like you, that have a very hard time, you know, just sitting still on like a Saturday and Netflix and chilling or just doing nothing. I have a very hard time doing that. When I broke my ankle really badly in November 2012, I sort of made a pact with myself that I said, Pete, you're never going to waste a moment. So I'm always busy, which is sometimes difficult. Now, I realized early on in the sport that it's vital to have some sort of device, device, to have your rifle in a steady state when you're working on it. Now, initially I bought this little, the cheapest basically Vise I could find at Builder's Warehouse, which is like sort of like a Home Depot type of situation. And I had a friend or a guy I know make some jaws for me, with some wood and some cork so I could grab my rifles onto their barrels. Now, there was some limitations with this, actually quite a few limitations. It couldn't really rotate, you had only so much clamping force. As soon as the rifle got a little bit arse end heavy, with the optic on, I had to clamp it down really hard and it would still kind of slip in the situation. Now, a couple of months ago, I came across the orange bench vise. This thing is a game changer. Let me take you through it. So guys, as always, this episode is brought to us by our friends over at Modular Driven Technologies, MDT. They make some amazing chassis systems and accessories for bolt action rifles. And I recently got 3 Sarge patches at SHOT Show. Now, if you use the coupon code SARGE at impactproshop.net, the first 3 people to use that coupon code, in fact, it'll only be available 3 times, will get 10% off their entire order, and I'll chuck in a Sarge for you. So if you're still watching at this point, you should seriously consider heading over to Impact Pro Shop. These are super cool. I kept 1 for myself and I took 3 for you guys. So let's get into the Vise. Let's put this thing down. Never gonna use it again. Okay, now right off the bat, what I really like is it's sort of a modular Vise. Now I got 2 of these sort of mounting plates and I did drop the ball on this one. You see, what I did was I mounted this sort of base to my desk or to my bench. This bench is on wheels. It's cool because the wheels have locking things. In fact, earlier when I started this video, I leaned on the bench and it rolled forward, which was a little bit awkward. Now, when I mounted this, I mounted it with the hex screws on the side here. And in fact, what I should have done, I should have mounted it this way. You see, these screws allow you to control the rotation of your vise. And they're way easier to access from this side of your table instead of getting like a T-handle in from that side. It isn't a deal breaker. Let me show you why. Now, what's really cool about this, I can mount this either on this desk or wherever the case may be, and I can simply move my vise to another location should I need to. So sometimes in my sort of other workshop, if I need to use my vise there or I'm working there for the day, I could literally just undo these, and sometimes I even just do them finger tight because there's no way this thing is going to fall out. And I could just pop it off, move it over to that location, and I could be off working in like under a minute. So let me show you how quickly this guy pops in here. It is obviously quite heavy. It is a unit. Okay, boom. So just like that, you can see it's stable already. It's certainly not going to fall out. But if you want some more tension on that, I just sort of snug them up finger tight, and I'll do like a little half a turn, because I still like that ability to still be able to sort of rotate this, on this axis. And this thing is butter smooth. Obviously, if we snug that up, it's going to get more tension on that. And if we want to lock it off completely, that ain't going anywhere. And I haven't even touched the other one. So I kind of like running it with just enough. See, that's the limitation of where I mounted this. That's a bit of my blondness coming through. So I like giving it just enough where I can still sort of rotate it freely, but there is a little bit of tension on there. So I kind of run it over there. So that is perfect for what I want to do. Let's pop that guy there. Now, I've had this for a while. Full disclosure, I haven't used it that much, but I did use it to mount the Razor Gen 3 on my 223 training rifle the other day, and it was freaking flawless. Now, possibly I would have overlaid some of that footage in sort of the intro. Now, a couple of things we did off the get-go. I took the standard jaws out. Now, to take those out is super easy. You just loosen this guy a little bit like that, and this guy a little bit on the top, just like that. And if I open this up, I will just be able to pop the jaws out. Now, basically what we did, I had Sculpt Machine in an arc rail for me, and then we put another little cut here if I want to grab onto round stuff. Now, to pop that guy back, it's got a little indexing pin here on the back, so we're going to simply slide it into sort of this dovetail now, make sure it locates, and then lock that sucker back down. Now, the whole goal of this sort of vise is to offer people the ability to make custom jaws for it. If you've got something you want to clamp onto and you need extreme repeatability, this thing will clock back up, okay, and it will allow you to control the amount of force, because once it's actually closed, you've got a little bit of control as to how much force you want to apply to this, and it'll relocate up to 5/1000ths of an inch with accuracy, you know, if you're doing repeat sort of stuff, clamping the same stuff. Now, the Orange Vise company actually make big fixtures for CNC machines and stuff, so this is meant to complement that. Now, very cool, because you guys are viewers of this channel, if you wanted to pick one of these units up, okay, you can use the coupon code IMPACTPRO, okay, one word, to get 20% off this vise. It is a premium vise, but it is full of premium features. Let me show you how cool it is, how we've actually set it up. If I open this sucker up, it is, obviously, it's butter smooth. I mean, this thing is built like a brick house. Don't know if that's gonna fly on YouTube, so we might have to bleep that out. This rifle is clear. In fact, the bolt's actually removed. Now, with most of our modern rifles, we shoot arc rails like this guy. So I'm gonna just locate that in there, and look at that, I open it the exact right amount. So now I've got my rifle locked off. If I wanted to clean this rifle, I could easily just move it there. You know, usually this desk is sort of over that way, so I will have plenty of space at the back here. And if I need to level a scope or anything like that, mounting a scope the other day was an absolute breeze doing it this way. Now, very cool, our friends over at Area 419, which we're all familiar with, they actually are selling these bench vises too with the super cool jaw kit that actually have Picatinny mounts, Arca mounts, and then they've got a really cool barrel bushing system that actually uses this part of the jaw over here. So if you're doing barrel chains and stuff like that, to give you the ability to, you know, lock off that barrel to action, use your action range, pop your action off, swap barrels and those kind of things, and it's going to make that a whole lot easier. What I also really like about this is not only do we have the rotation, obviously if we haven't put enough pressure on there to lock it off completely, and as I showed you, we can easily do that, but there's two more screws over here, okay, two more Allen keys over there. I think this guy will go in there, boom, and then boom, and now all of a sudden, you know, I've got the ability to do this with my rifle and this, and I've basically got almost complete 3D movement. The only movement I don't have is sort of a cant movement like this, but this is really handy. If I need to, you know, have some solvent stuff, I can just lock it off like that. And in fact, if you play a little bit here with the tension, you can get it to a point where you could still manipulate it, but it wouldn't move on you. So there we sort of have that. So I could put it there and it's gonna stay there. I can swing it around. And this is really, really cool for if you need to get into sort of the odd spaces and stuff that you might find yourself working on your rifle. Even putting suppressors on and off, you know, self-timing muzzle brakes, all of those kind of things. It just makes it easier because you're freeing up both hands. I cannot, you know, yes, I struggled so badly. I was doing things initially when I started in the sport, because obviously it's quite a big investment, and this is an investment piece of kit, but I mean, this thing will literally last you your lifetime. But man, I used to struggle. I used to mount scopes with like putting game changers on tables and leaning things over to put action screws and stuff like that in. What I really like about the Area 419 jaws that they've made is the fact that you can clamp directly onto your Picatinny. So let's, for example, say you need to pop a barreled action into a chassis, and I'll roll in some shots. I hope you guys don't mind at 419. If you flip it over, you clamp onto your Picatinny rail, you can simply bring your chassis to your rifle, snug up your action screws, flick it back over. If you've obviously got a level bench, then your vise is going to be level, then you should be able to lock it into your arc rail, and that's in fact what I did. and my scope was pretty much level off the get-go. I did still verify that with bubble levels and stuff. So obviously guys, this is not the Home Depot bench vise. This is a premium piece of kit, and if you're looking to complement your reloading room and you want to add some badass stuff, they come in this orange, there's green, there's blue. Area 419 also are selling these vices with the whole sort of barrel change kit and everything. I think it's a very, very cool addition. Probably will be overkill for some users, and probably a lot of people are going to say, Pete, you have to be absolutely insane to spend $1,000 on a vise. But I guess different strokes of different folks. In fact, when Area 419 made their video about the vise, they sold out pretty much like that, and they said to Orange Vise Company, we'll take all the vices you can make. So there's clearly a market for that. The guys that do own them love them. I absolutely love mine. I quite like the orange, especially because over in the workshop we have some kind of orange stuff. I think it also picks up nicely with sort of the bullets at the background there. Yeah, it's a super mean piece of kit. I'd be happy to recommend it if you've got the money and you're looking for the last vise you'll ever buy in your life. This is going to be the guy for you. Anyway guys, let me know if you have any questions. Shout. I think the guys from Orange Vise Company will also sort of float in our comments a little bit, make sure that they answer some of your questions. I think they knocked it out the park. Really, the machining, the anodizing, everything is absolutely stunning. Obviously, we can adjust this way. We've got quite a big surface area that we can work with. I'm super stoked. They absolutely crushed it. And as I said, for sort of the stuff we've accumulated over the years, you know, we've got A&D presses, we've got zero presses, we have A&D scales. This has sort of turned into a high-end shop, and this for me is one of the cherries on the cake that we have in the reloading room. So super fortunate to have gotten my hands on one of these, and I want to thank the guys from Orange Vise Company for extending that 20% saving to you guys. And once again, thanks to Modular Driven Technologies for supporting the channel and sponsoring today's video. I am leaving for Texas soon, so I'll see you guys in Texas, but I'm gonna do a separate video on that for you. Okay, see you in the next one. Bye.